500 and NASDAQ closing at all-time highs. The Dow up, gold up, real estate.
Hello traders, and welcome to another TrendSpider technical analysis series video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the accumulation distribution line indicator. We'll touch on how it's calculated and what it measures, as well as how to read it so that you can use it to make more educated trading decisions. Let's jump in. The accumulation distribution line is a momentum indicator that traders use to understand the cumulative inflow or outflow of money on a given asset. Now, what do we mean when we say cumulative? With each new period, the value for the current period is either added to or subtracted from the previous reading. In the crudest layman's terms, if the value on the previous period was 100 and we get a value of 10 today, the new cumulative value is 110. Whether it's added or subtracted is based on whether the value is positive or negative. Now that leads us to a very important question, which is, how is the value derived? Using a simple calculation in which the volume for the period is multiplied by something called the money flow multiplier. Now, I know what you're thinking, what's the money flow multiplier? Here's the equation for all you math nerds, and simply say that it's a function of where price closes relative to the high or the low of the period. If price closes near the high of the period, when you run the calculation, you're going to get a positive value, and therefore, it's going to be added to the previous reading. This will make the indicator increase. If price closes near the low of the period, you'll end up with a negative value, which will then be subtracted from the previous reading. This will make the indicator decrease. Now, can you guess what happens if price closes in the middle of a period's range? Yeah, you got it. The value will be closer to zero, and therefore will move the indicator sideways. In all of these instances, volume plays a key role. The more volume, the bigger the number that's added or subtracted, and the more the indicator will move, higher or lower. Now that we understand how the AD line indicator is influenced to move higher or lower or sideways, let's talk through why we would want to utilize it in the first place. If price is moving higher, you want to see buyers actually supporting the move. So therefore, as price makes higher highs and higher lows, so too should the accumulation distribution line indicator. If price is moving lower and you want to see that sellers are in control, look no further than the AD line. As long as it's making lower highs and lower lows along with price, then sellers are in control. Where things get particularly interesting is when the AD line and price don't move in sync with one another. We'd call that divergence, and next, we'll take a look at a few examples. First up, let's look at this weekly chart of the SPY ETF. I have quite a few horizontal lines drawn here on the chart, and if you'll notice, they're drawn at previous highs. Note the AD indicator at the bottom. Each time we make a new high in price, we also make a new high on the AD indicator. That is until something changes. I'm going to zoom into the last two vertical lines here so we can better see the 2021 and early 2022 highs. Notice how we made a new high in price, but not a new high on the AD line. This could have been viewed as a first sign that trouble might be brewing for this index, and of course, we all know what followed in 2022. Next up, let's look at something more bullish. Here's a daily chart of Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker symbol TSM. First, note the lower lows that were made between July and October, and then compare that with the higher lows that were put in on the AD line. We all know that Berkshire has taken a stake in this name at this point, but this indicator actually foreshadowed it. Even as the stock was making new lows, smart money was piling into the discounted shares. One final example to consider, this monthly chart of Etsy, ticker ETSY. Early in 2017 and into 2020, the AD line indicator and price were following the same track, making higher highs and higher lows. But then something changes. The AD line peaks in July of 2020 and goes sideways as the price of the stock continues to march higher. With each new high made, the AD failed to make new highs, signaling distribution and warning traders of the potential for a move lower that ultimately did come. Now, before we close out this video, it should be noted that the AD line is not really meant to be used in isolation. It can take time for these setups to come into fruition, as you've seen, so it's highly recommended that if you want to use the AD line, that you do so in tandem with other trend following indicators. And just like all the other indicators on the TrendSpider platform, you can utilize the AD line in your scans, your alerts, and your back tests. So that's it for me. I hope you found this video helpful, and I can't wait to see you in another TrendSpider technical analysis series video soon. As always, happy trading and catch you next time.